History has a way of hiding its darkest secrets until someone dares to dig deep enough to unearth the truth. Today we're diving into 3 buried truths, each one more disturbing than the last. The first, a village ravaged by death, where a brutal decision was made, not for survival, but for the greater good. A decision that would be remembered for centuries to come. The second, the tale of lost children. But this isn't a fairy tale. These children vanished, and no one has ever fully explained why. Was it a curse, or something far worse? And finally, the third, a society so powerful, so secretive, that it formed its own underground network of rituals and power plays. What went on beneath the streets of London? What happened in their hidden tunnels? These are stories that history has tried to erase, but we're not afraid to bring them back to light. In the quiet Derbyshire village of Eyam, history lingers in the air. The old stone cottages stand as silent witnesses to a story of courage and loss. In 1665, as the Great Plague ravaged London, Eyam seemed far removed from the chaos. But death arrived quietly, hidden in a box of cloth sent to a local tailor, George Vickers. The parcel, damp from its journey, was laid by the fire to dry, releasing plague-carrying fleas. Within a week, George was dead and panic swept through the village. The disease spread rapidly, marked by fever and the telltale buboes. Fear and suspicion grew. Families locked their doors, desperate to keep the plague at bay. Many considered fleeing to nearby towns, but some realized this would only spread the horror. The villagers faced a terrible choice: run and risk infecting others, or stay and face the plague together. The wind through Eyam's churchyard still seems to whisper the names of those who made that fateful decision. Their story is one of unimaginable sacrifice. The village would soon become a living tomb, sealed by its own people. Eyam's ordeal was just beginning. The world would never forget what they chose to do. Eyam stood at a crossroads: flee and spread the plague, or stay and face near certain death. The village rector, William Mompesson, and former rector Thomas Stanley united to guide the villagers. They urged the community to quarantine itself, arguing that their suffering could save thousands beyond Eyam. The villagers listened, torn between fear and conscience. Slowly they agreed. They would not abandon their homes or doom their neighbours. Eyam would become a prison, but also a shield for the rest of England. The decision was unprecedented. A voluntary quarantine led by faith and a sense of duty. Mompesson and Stanley's leadership was crucial, appealing to courage over panic. The villagers' choice would echo through history. They sealed themselves in, knowing many would not survive. It was a pact with death, made for the sake of strangers. The fate of Eyam was now set. Their sacrifice would change the course of the plague. The villagers marked a boundary around Eyam: no one in, no one out. Supplies were left at drop-off points like Mompesson's well and the boundary stone. To prevent contagion, villagers left coins in vinegar-filled holes, hoping to disinfect them. The boundary was both lifeline and prison. Inside, daily life changed completely. The church was closed. Services moved outdoors to Cucklet Delph, where families prayed at a distance. Every interaction was shadowed by fear of infection. The community clung to faith and each other, even as they were forced apart. Isolation was total. Help could not enter and no one could leave. The image of vinegar-soaked coins remains a symbol of their desperate ingenuity. Eyam's quarantine was strict, but it was their only hope. The village became a world unto itself, ruled by new, grim rules. Survival depended on discipline, faith, and the kindness of distant neighbours. For 14 months, Eyam endured relentless loss. The plague tore through families. The church bell tolled for the dead until even that became unbearable. With the gravedigger gone, families buried their own loved ones in fields and gardens. The Riley graves tell of Elizabeth Hancock, who buried her husband and 6 children in 8 days. Her story is one of unimaginable grief and resilience. Amid tragedy, some survived against all odds, like Marshall Howe, who buried dozens but lived. Mompesson's wife, Catherine, stayed to help but died near the end. The Reverend himself survived. Not all who were exposed perished, and some stories remain mysteries. The fields around Eyam became dotted with solitary graves, each a testament to sacrifice. The village's ordeal was marked by both heartbreak and courage. Eyam's people faced the darkness together, refusing to let the plague escape. Their suffering was immense, but their resolve never wavered. The cost was personal, but the impact was far-reaching. When the plague finally ended, Eyam was forever changed. Of 350 villagers, at least 260 had died, entire families lost. But the quarantine held, the plague did not spread to nearby towns. Eyam's sacrifice became a turning point in public health history. Modern science suggests some survivors carried a rare gene, CCR5-delta32, possibly granting resistance. The village's ordeal shaped future responses to epidemics, cordons, supply drops, and disinfection. Eyam's story is a testament to the power of community and selflessness. Ordinary people made an extraordinary choice, saving countless lives beyond their own. Today, visitors honor their memory, walking the quiet streets and reading the names of the lost. Eyam's legacy is one of courage, sacrifice, and hope. Their decision echoes in every act of collective responsibility during crisis. The world remembers a village that chose to save others, no matter the cost. They say he played his pipe, and the children followed him into the mountains, never to be seen again. But what if the legend of the Pied Piper isn't just a fairy tale? What if it's a shadowy echo of a real event? Today on Forgotten Pages, I uncover the disturbing historical trail behind the Children of Hamelin and the truth buried beneath centuries of folklore. The tale goes back to June 26th, 1284. In Hamelin, a vibrant town in Lower Saxony, a mysterious man appeared. Dressed in bright colours and carrying a pipe, he offered to rid the town of its rat infestation for a fee. The townsfolk agreed. He played his tune, and like magic, the rats followed him to the river Visa and drowned. But when they refused to pay him, he returned, this time to take something far more precious. On that fateful day, 130 children followed the piper and vanished. Unlike many fairy tales, this one is etched into real records. A stained glass window in Hamelin's church, now lost but documented, showed the Pied Piper leading away children. The town's 1384 chronicle coldly notes, "It is 100 years since our children left. No mention of rats, no heroic twist, just a mass disappearance." So what happened? Historians suggest disturbing alternatives. One theory? The children were sold. As Eastern Europe opened up, German settlements were expanding. Some believe Hamelin sent its children, perhaps orphans or the poor, as part of colonization efforts. Others claim the kids were taken by recruiters known as locators to populate war-torn or plague-depleted areas. Another theory points to disease. Could it have been a cover-up for mass death, maybe from the Black Death or ergot poisoning, or was it punishment? Some posit a children's crusade-like event. The young marched off under a zealous leader, never reaching the Holy Land. Some reinterpret the piper not as a man, but as a personification of death. The colourful clothing, a metaphor, the tune, a dirge. In this light, the story mirrors medieval depictions of death luring souls, particularly the innocent, into the afterlife. The piper's revenge was never personal. It was inevitable. Today, Hamelin embraces the tale. Tourists follow the piper's trail through cobbled streets. Actors play the piper in town parades. But beneath the fanfare, the mystery remains unsolved. Why do no weddings occur on Bungalowsenstrasse, the street the children were said to vanish from? Why does that date, June 26, still echo in their records? The story of the Pied Piper endures not because it's fanciful, but because it feels real. Something happened in Hamelin, something they tried to explain, with music, myth and mourning. The English countryside hides centuries of secrets. Atop West Wycombe Hill, a golden-domed church gleams, but beneath it, darkness waits. A labyrinth of tunnels, the Hellfire Caves, lies hidden in the chalk. Once these caves were the domain of the infamous Hellfire Club. Powerful men gathered here, far from society's gaze, to indulge in forbidden rituals. The wind still whispers tales of their secret meetings and wild acts. What drove these men underground? Was it rebellion, curiosity, or a hunger for the forbidden? The truth is tangled in legend and rumor. To understand the Hellfire Club, we must meet its creator, Sir Francis Dashwood, a man of wealth, wit, and dangerous imagination. He transformed this hill into a stage for secrecy and excess. The story of the Hellfire Club is a journey into the shadows of the 18th century, and it all began with Dashwood's vision. Sir Francis Dashwood was no ordinary aristocrat. Inspired by his travels and classical ideas, he saw English society as stifling and hypocritical. He founded a club for those who craved freedom and pleasure, calling themselves the Friars of St. Francis of Wickham. Their motto, "Do what thou wilt." The club's members were the elite, politicians, artists, lords, living double lives. By day they shaped the nation, by night they vanished into secrecy. Dashwood's grandest act was the creation of the Hellfire Caves beneath his estate. Officially, the caves provided work and chalk for roads, but their true purpose was far more theatrical. Here, the friars could escape judgment and invent their own rules. The contrast between their public virtue and private vice made the club notorious. Their secret world was hidden in plain sight beneath the very church that crowned the hill. The Hellfire Club was a society built on secrecy, wit and rebellion, and its legend was just beginning. The Hellfire Caves begin with a dramatic Gothic entrance carved into the hillside. Inside, flickering lamps reveal winding tunnels and chambers, each with its own name and purpose. Visitors cross the river Styx, a nod to Greek myth, leaving the ordinary world behind. The journey ended in the inner temple directly beneath the church above. Here, the club's most secretive rituals took place. The symbolism was clear revelry and rebellion beneath the house of God. Stories tell of feasts, mock ceremonies, and mysterious guests. The true nature of their rituals remains lost to history, fueling endless speculation. The caves were a world apart, built for pleasure and defiance. The echoes of their secrets still linger in the chalky darkness. This was Dashwood's hidden kingdom. The Hellfire Club's power came from its members, leaders of British society. Among them, Benjamin Franklin, the American statesman, and John Wilkes, the radical politician. Their involvement added intrigue and international reach. The club's secrecy masked a deep dissatisfaction with the world they ruled, but scandal was inevitable. A feud between Wilkes and Lord Sandwich exposed the club's secrets in Parliament. The public was both horrified and fascinated. The church condemned them. Rumours of debauchery and black magic spread. For some, the club symbolised aristocratic depravity. For others, forbidden freedom. The Hellfire Club became legend. Villains to some, folk heroes to others. Their story revealed the hypocrisy and hidden desires of Georgian society, and their secrets changed history. The Hellfire Caves became a magnet for ghost stories and legends. Tales of lost initiates, shadowy figures and whispered voices haunt the tunnels. Whether fact or fiction, these stories reflect the club's enduring mystique. After Dashwood's death and public scandal, the club faded away. The caves fell silent, but the legend grew. Today, visitors walk the same tunnels, drawn by curiosity and the thrill of the forbidden. The Hellfire Club's legacy endures, a reminder that even the most respectable societies have hidden shadows. Their defiance, secrecy and rituals continue to fascinate. The echoes of their revels refuse to fade. In the darkness beneath West Wickham Hill, history's secrets still whisper. The story of the Hellfire Club lives on. What if the past still holds mysteries, waiting in the dark? Thank you for joining us on this journey. But don't think we are done. There's more lurking in history's shadows. Enjoyed the mystery? Like, comment and subscribe to keep these stories alive. Want more? Catch our daily shorts for fresh, bite-sized truths. And return every Monday, Wednesday and Friday for new full episodes. Next time, we'll uncover the dark secrets of our next story. Thanks for watching. History's secrets await.